Welcome back, everyone. We hope you've been simply ruminating on what else could possibly happen in this story. We've had assassination attempts on lawyers in which dogs' paws were collateral. We've had weird as hell imagined reenactments. So, where could we possibly go from here? Possibly towards finding Seth Rich's killer? Well, how sweet of you, dear listener, to think that is remotely where we are headed. To recap, our story should be about Seth Rich, a DNC staffer murdered in 2016 on a walk home from a night out. However, the police have patently decided they're sitting this one out, and that then made way for the right wing to make it all about them and use Seth as a pawn or face of their bullshit as per usual. Anyway, lawyer non-extraordinaire Jack Burkman is now out, dumped, shit-canned, simply fired, babies. And this is where we pick up. So then the documentary, they shift to this guy. His name is Ed Butowsky.
He's a new lawyer?
No.
Oh.
He's worse.
Oh.
So he was an investment manager based outside of Dallas, Texas. And he's another spotlight lover, just like good old Jackie Burkman. He's like the spokesperson for Republican talking points. And I'm like, they need a spokesperson.
Yeah, you're like, what do you mean?
I don't need to turn to Democratic officials to understand the tenets of the Democratic Party. So he works with this woman named Ellen Ratner, who is a political talk show host, and she helped him qualify his political radio show to receive a Capitol Hill press pass. So that just gets him access to places that he should not have access to. And so he starts looking into Seth Rich, since the theory had lost a lot of traction when Burkman got a hold of it. Butowsky decides to pay for a private investigator for the family, because he reaches out to the Rich family, and he literally says on air, Butowsky says, most people would say, no, we don't know you, but they said yes. And then I was like, oh my God, I have to find a PI. I was like, you didn't have one?
Yeah, you're like, here's the guy. Let's go right now.
Butowsky is referred to Rod Wheeler, who is a former homicide cop who's apparently just always down to talk on Fox News. So Butowsky is like bringing this story up again around like all these Fox people, which is unbeknownst to the Rich family, because like they now don't want this in the media anymore.
Right. Yeah, private investigator, like private, like not like whatever.
Like not public.
Yeah, like not like let's keep it to us so we can find out who killed our fucking son.
So he sets out to prove that Rich was the WikiLeaks source and was murdered for it. Rod Wheeler wants access to Seth's laptop, but the police had already checked this and found nothing. And Rich's parents say that to him. They were like, they already checked this, like they already showed us that there's
Right.
nothing on here. But he's insistent, and so they were like, fine. And so they give it to him. And then Ed Butowsky is put in contact with this man named Seymour Hersh. And Seymour Hersh is a famous journalist, at least in Washington, D.C. and in politics. Like everyone kind of knows about him. Just to give a little bit more context, Seymour Hersh, he's an investigative journalist and political writer. He gained recognition in 1969 for exposing the My Lai massacre and its cover-up during the Vietnam War, which he received the 1970 Pulitzer Prize for international reporting. So Ed Butowsky reaches out to him. There's like this audio recording between Butowsky and Hersh, like a phone call. And Hersh tells this whole story about an FBI report that conveniently confirms the entire theory. But at the very end of his like whole little blurb that he says to Butowsky, he says, "This may not be true." And he says, like, he has a friend on the inside who can access or read FBI reports for him. So, like, that's how he knows. But also, conveniently, cannot get the report for Butowsky, who obviously thinks he's like finally struck gold on this.
He's like, I can read it, but I can't get it to you for you to read.
He's like, but it exists, I swear.
I can reiterate it to you with my own lens.
Swear on my mom. So then they reveal on the documentary that everything that Seymour said was all false, because one of the consistent people that's like kind of narrating the story is this NPR reporter. His name is David Folkenbilk, and he says that Seymour Hersh once said to him, "Have you ever told a source something that's not true in order to get information from that source?" And he was like, "No."
God damn it.
How does that make any sense? You're telling this Butowsky guy that you like have what he wants in the hopes that he would tell you information. He doesn't have information. Like, he's already said that.
Yeah, like, I guess you're like baiting someone to admit something by just like blindly guessing. Like, I don't know when that works, but
he thought he was pulling one over on Butowsky to get information from Butowsky, who thought he was getting information from her.
You're like, joke's on both of you. Neither of us have information.
So the two of them were like, so we have nothing? And so when the NPR reporter was like, what? No. So Seymour says, always judge me for what I publish, not for what I do before I publish. What? So what if Butowsky did give you quote unquote information? That would not have been true either. So word of this Hersh audio circulates the Republican rounds, and they like freak the fuck out, and they're like, yes, he was the WikiLeaks leak. He was the whistleblower. The conspiracy theory is correct, because of course Butowsky immediately released it for the clicks, likes, views, and engagement. So they take it to Sean Spicer. Remember him?
Yes.
So Rod Wheeler and Ed Butowsky go to Sean Spicer, who takes a meeting with them on 420 to hear to hear the Hersh audio. And at this point, Trump was currently being investigated for Russian ties.
No.
So Butowsky and Wheeler think that this is the thing that will somehow undo all of that, if they could just get their hands on the FBI report that Hersh is talking about.
That exonerates anyone involved with Russian anything.
Apparently, because I think what they're trying to do, so this is what when I said like wait for it about like where we're going with this, I think they were trying to pin the Russian hacking on the Democrats in this way, because it was DNC emails.
I don't know.
Like, it's very loose. Like, I'm like, I don't even know what you're trying to get at.
Like, I've lost track of all the threads. I don't know.
But supposedly, if this were all true, this would exonerate Trump. That's what I mean.
Like, what does that have to do with anything?
So then motherfucking Sean Spicer is the voice of reason for a second and says it's crazy, and no, I don't want to go any further with this story. So Butowsky puts pressure on Wheeler to get the FBI report, or to just publish what they already have, because they are working with Malia Zimmerman of Fox. Butowsky records an audio of Wheeler saying that his former Metropolitan Police contacts say that they can't give him any information, and they've been told to stand down on the case, which like he thinks is something sinister, basically. But in reality, it's because the police were like, you need to stop.
Yeah, they're like, step off, sir.
So then, jumping the gun completely, a local Fox station, Fox 5, runs a report about the speculation, not fully publishing Butowsky and Wheeler's crap, but perpetuating speculation. And Wheeler says on live television that he for sure has sources at the FBI confirming the WikiLeaks theory.
At the FBI?
Yes. He does not. He does not have those.
No.
And then Marina Morocco, who is the reporter for this local Fox station, confirms that a full report is underway showing how many times Seth Rich contacted WikiLeaks, which is 0. Different Fox outlets start reporting that there is definitely evidence on Rich's computer. There was not. So Fox Digital goes bananas overnight with all the crazy laymen thinking this has now been confirmed, which is why it's so dangerous, because like it's not even the people that are being like crazy about it, like speculating. I'm like, you understand when this gets in the hands of regular people are crazy.
I know. Yeah, you're like, don't give it to them intentionally.
Don't encourage them.
Right, exactly.
I think it's funny that they pointed out in the documentary that the news side of Fox was quote unquote more careful with reporting. Yeah, right.
It doesn't seem like they were.
No. But the opinion channels, so you know, like all those like fucking terrible Fox shows.
Yeah.
They obviously run away with it.
Well, it's hard. Like, I guess, like, technically you're not, like, doing anything wrong by being, like, it's not proven, but, like, this is the, like, I don't, did they say it was speculation or no? They were just, like,
nope.
Oh, okay, never mind. Because I was, like, at that point, like, technically it's not their fault. It's, like, shitty to, like, put it in people's heads.
No, they are going along with this as if, like, they have, again, like, they have evidence that they just haven't released yet.
Right. Yeah, it's about to drop.
You got nothing, and you're telling it's like, you know what it's like? Do you know about the Fire Festival?
Yes, it is.
It is. Okay, so Mary Rich is fuming, mates.
Mother Mary
is not happy.
Oh my god, yes, get it, Mary.
And apparently
Slit throats, Mary. Avenge your son.
You can kill people. It's okay.
All right, it's now allowed. All right, go.
So apparently when they hired Rod Wheeler, the who is the PI,
okay,
he was under contract by the Rich family not to talk to the media when he was hired.
Fucking Christ. Immediately it was like, guess what?
And he is the one who was all over Fox.
Oh my god. Okay, at least there's a contract. That's
so good. They fire him, obviously. And they were like, this is getting crazy. So they hire their own media correspondent, and his name is Brad Bauman, and he is a Democrat. But because he is a Democrat, suddenly, according to all Republican correspondents, he's a hitman. He is a Democratic spin doctor. He took money from the DNC to personally cover up Seth's murder.
What?
Like a tweet literally said, Seth Rich's family spokesperson is a Democrat operative. Did the Democrat/communist murder a traitor among them?
I love how they're fucking putting Democrats and communists in the same basket. Also,
I repeat, this is not about Seth Rich anymore.
Yeah, like
no. Not about him. Especially when they're like, fucking Seth Rich's family, they're stupid idiots.
I know, you're like, what? You're like, leave him alone. Leave Mary alone.
So Brad Bauman, the spokesperson, is doxxed by 4chan subreddits and Twitter. And so Republican citizens on 4chan subreddits and other places, they start threatening Seth's girlfriend for some reason.
Oh god.
And the bar that he was at. Like,
I think he threatened a bar.
Like, for information on like what happened that night. I was like, why does it always go to threatening? Like, for what? Like, how does that even make sense with what you're asserting? That someone was murdered, and therefore, if you don't believe this theory that has literally zero evidence, then you're obviously an operative, and therefore your life should be threatened. Like, huh?
What do you mean?
So they threatened, and his former roommate, they threatened to kick down his door because he wouldn't talk to them. And they said they'd make people talk with their guns. And
what the fuck?
How you can't. You literally cannot make someone talk if you shoot them.
Well, and do they think like these people, like these peripheral people in his life also have information?
Yes, that's
like, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know why.
Exactly. And it's just like his roommate clearly wasn't there that night, and like for all intents and purposes may just be a roommate.
Yeah.
Sure, they might have been friends, I don't know, but what if he has no idea?
What if he hates C-SPAN?
What if he hates everything that
they
Seth
would definitely
loves?
Not get along? They're like, we're roommates and that's it.
What if he hates everything that Seth holds dear, which is
exactly.
C-SPAN and American flag shirts
and a good laugh?
And a good laugh. What if he hates laughs? Oh, and then I wrote Bauman with the quote of the documentary. He says, it was like watching reality gaslight you.
Oh my god. That's so sad.
Well, so he also brought up something that gets me whenever something like this occurs and regular people go absolutely wild, which is the idea of, he goes, we had to like, and he's talking about him and the rich family. He was like, we had to like look at each other and be like, we're sure, right?
Yeah, I know. It's so freaky.
It's because people are so fervent in this, and it's so serious for them that they go as far as to threaten violence against people who disagree or are, in their opinion, obstructing the truth, that it makes you question yourself and the actual truth. And I know that that's just like the definition of gaslighting, but it's so crazy how it works. And then Mary talked about how all of this compounded her own grief. Honestly, I don't know how they managed. I'd probably want to die if I lost a child in the first place.
That's what I mean. Yeah, and then it just like gets weird and like violent again.
Yeah. Rod Wheeler tries to come back and say that he was duped by Republicans into this investigation to help Trump's PR Russian collusion investigation.
God.
And we all simply have to laugh because Seth, as we know, loved a good laugh.
Yeah. This is what Seth would have wanted.
Like, you cannot make this shit up. And this is around the age, like around the era of time. And like, obviously we're still there because like this has never stopped. But it was around this time that I was going absolutely bananas. You are on video saying these things.
Yeah.
I'm watching you say it.
Yeah, you're like, there's like hard evidence.
So he finally admits that everything that Fox reported was false, including quotes from him saying that he definitely knew there was evidence on Seth's computer. He 100% did say this on air, but is now backpedaling.
Yeah. Oh, so he's saying he didn't say it, not that he lied. And
everything that he said on air, he is now saying he didn't say, or like,
yeah, not that he's not admitting he was incorrect. He's just saying he didn't say the thing.
Right. Or was like, he was like tricked into it, basically.
Yeah.
And so he says that he challenged Malia Zimmerman immediately following the publication of her article and asked her, why would you leave quotes in an article you know are untrue? Good question.
Yeah.
That's what I've been saying this entire time. And apparently she said her bosses wanted her to leave them in there. I don't even think that conversation occurred, if I'm being entirely honest. So the rich family seeks a cease and desist order against Wheeler because he was in breach of contract. So now they're suing him too.
That's what I mean. Like when you
get that coin, Mary.
I know. Like I hope you did more than just fire him.
Yeah, they were like, we only want to hire you if you actually make this about finding our son's killer. Yeah. Funny enough.
And he's like, how about I do the opposite?
So finally, non-Republican news sources start reporting on this mess to clean it up. And Hirsch, you remember the guy who said that he knew someone in the FBI and yes. He publicly says that Ed Butowsky took 2 and 2 and made 45 out of it, as if you have no liability here, sir. Yeah.
He's like, but I wouldn't do that.
It's everyone, once it's all like at this point, everyone's like, I don't want to touch it.
Yeah. You're like, but they did this. Please ignore what I did, but they did this.
So on May 24th, 2017, Fox had to officially retract the story. And so that one of the quotes from the documentary was like, how did this happen? Who put Fox News up to this? And I was like, have you ever seen Fox?
They were like, can I use that?
They're like, hey, this is kind of cool.
It's kind of cool. Can I share this publicly?
And say it's true?
Yeah.
And apparently Trump was also personally involved in reviewing this story and pushing it to be published. Are we surprised? He wanted it to be published because he also believed that would exonerate him.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, good, do it. Whatever makes me look good.
So Butowsky tries to say that Trump wasn't involved, but there is a text message that they have screenshotted from Ed saying that Trump wanted the story out immediately. So damn it. Sean Spicer says he was not aware of the story. I was like, Sean, you were the only one who did anything correct in that. So
yeah, Sean, that's honestly take some credit for that. Honestly.
Why don't you just own that?
Wrong move.
Why don't you just tell people no, I said it was stupid.
Yeah. That would make you look better.
It is also revealed that WikiLeaks used this event to cover up the fact that they got the DNC emails from the Russians, because that's who originally hacked us.
Gotcha.
And there was a Twitter DM from WikiLeaks to, it says GRU. I'm like, why are you contacting each other via Twitter?
I know. I was like, wait, what?
What an insecure platform to do that. And the message said, if you have anything Hillary related, we want it in the next 2 days, preferably.
If you can.
If you can. If not, no worries.
If not, it's fine.
So then remember the Mueller report? Special investigator Robert Mueller, who was like looking into Trump.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. I thought you meant like, for some reason, I thought you meant from the beginning of the story.
Oh, no, like, sorry.
No, but yes, I do.
So the Mueller report comes out and confirms that there is no evidence that Seth Rich had a connection to WikiLeaks. And then CrowdStrike, which is a company hired by the FBI to find who hacked the DNC, confirmed that it was Russian hacking by this server called APT29, which is the bulletin, the SVR thing I was talking about earlier.
Oh, yeah.
I don't understand what you are.
Yeah, what do you want?
The problem here, though, is that CrowdStrike did know about this well before the election and well before the leak and didn't notify anyone.
Good job. Good job, guys.
You putz.
And then they also showed a clip of Joe Rogan on his podcast purporting the whole thing like it's true. You don't fact check nothing, do you?
It's like, I don't need to. I have a lot of money. I don't need to do that when you have money.
They have opinions.
That's the moral of the story.
So then Butowsky sued the NPR reporter that I was talking about. He sues him because David, he reported correctly on this story and just laid out the facts of what happened. And since that is in opposition to Butowsky, it caused him economic harm, which apparently
oh my God,
entitles him to sue him. And he also says, which I thought was pretty poignant, he goes, at no time did we hear anybody state, gosh, this is really going to hurt the riches, but because of this incontrovertible truth we have to find a way to present this to the public because the government is trying to cover up. You don't hear it that way. Instead, it was just like, the president really wants this. We've got to kill this Russian narrative. We got to help him out. We have to make him look credible. And then the Rich family sued Fox News. And I was like, yes!
The Rich suing Fox News. We love to hear.
And then one of the last quotes from the documentary that I thought was interesting.
Wait, did they win? How's their suit going? Is it still happening?
They reached a settlement and it was for a certain amount of money, which I was like, yes, my girl Mary.
You're like, oh, we're the Rich family now.
But yeah, so one of the last quotes from the documentary that I liked was, how far will these people go supposedly working for the truth, but it's their truth? Joel Rich.
Oh, Mary and Joel.
That's what he said that. His father said that. How far will these people go supposedly working for the truth, but it's their truth?
Joel, in and out like a demon's whisper with some quality lines.
Mm-hmm. So that is it on that one.
That's crazy.
And I don't think we necessarily need a do we believe it section.
Yeah, I don't think so. I was like, how are you going to answer that? He probably just was robbed and it like that sucks and it's sad.
Yeah, no, it really sucks and it's just what's even sadder about the whole thing is all of this mess just put them so much further away from ever finding who actually did this. That's the terrible part here.
Right. Yeah, you're like, and they still didn't get an answer and they got dragged through the mud.
Right.
Like, they didn't even get an answer at the end of it.
And in my column of final considerations, I said it's truly alarming how fast Hillary dropped off from this after the election.
Yeah.
As Republican news talking points changed.
Yeah, they're just like, never mind.
But that's the thing.
We got a new guy.
That's the thing. I'm like, these are people's lives.
I know. Yeah, like seriously, they're just like trying to grieve and like get some sort of justice, even though they probably knew they like wouldn't find. I don't know if they knew thought they would find the person. But yeah, because I wonder too, like how long did that go on for? Like at least a year, right? Like after, like Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it was like it. Well, if it ends with them,
like suing
them,
Fox,
then it probably would have ended around like 2018, like
That's what I
like
mean. Like
sometime.
that like took up so much of their life.
Yeah. 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 So like, oh my God, it's just crazy how dangerous some of these can be, because when I first heard about this topic and like wanted to add it to our topics of discussion, just the idea of, like, was a DNC staffer, killed for political reasons, I was like, sure, I could see that.
Yeah.
And obviously when you look further into it, like it's not that, but
well, yeah, like the political reasons are like insane and like so like grasping at so like they're just
right.
putting wild like topics together to form one argument.
Right. But the dangerous part about it is that if I hadn't looked into it, then I may have believed it,
Right, yeah, you're like, oh, like time frame makes sense and like whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, we did manage to have fun.
We did. I was like, I'm a little worried. I don't know.
I was very worried when I compiled all those notes. I was like, this is just a really sad story.
Yeah. You're like, thank God that 14-year-old tried to hijack that plane.
Thank God. So, yes. So, thank you, listeners, for tuning in again. This, as always, was a lot of fun. I feel like I always say that at the end of
it was a lot of fun. So,
well, it was a lot of fun. So, fun. I'll tell you when I don't have a lot of fun. How about that? And yeah, so we'll see you next time.